Are you like me, and have you been wondering about the map size for Pokemon Legends ZA? Lumiose City is a great city, and arguably the biggest one that we have in the Pokemon universe, but it is still going to be maybe a little bit small. Hey guys, I'm Rob, and we here at Haus are going to be talking about that today. We've had a lot of information that has been shown to us so far. I don't even think we've scratched the surface, even with that statement being true. And it just feels like, it might be time to really start talking about the map. And I want to kind of go over what has inspired this for me and maybe discuss and get your guys' thoughts in the comment section below about, what your feelings are with this map and everything that has been shown. So I wanted to at least put on this trailer in the background, and then I wanted to get here to our Pokemon ZA. There are some Pokemon leaks and stuff like that as well. And there's been a map that has been superimposed with mostly all of what we have seen so far in the different trailers. And so I want to thank Kaprazik 120. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, or got close at least. And, they went out here and did the work. I was looking for something like this, and they just happened to do it 2 days ago. And, you can kind of see everything that has been put together so far. We have this map, from the original trailer that was shown to us, and now they have put over, taking the mini map and showing us everything that is on here. And this is a thought that I've had for quite some time. How are they going to fit such a big game into such a small area, right? How are you going to be able to play a game in just one city? And I've seen this being talked about on Twitter, on Reddit, pretty much anywhere that people talk about Pokemon. And, when you look at this, we've been basically shown most of the green area here. The blue area has not been shown very much. A little bit here of like the orange and the pink, and a decent bit more here of the yellow. Now, I will say, looking at this, I have found that the wild zones and everything are a little bit different than I had initially thought. We've seen Pokemon over here, I think pretty consistently with number 6. I started putting together some data for the game, because we're going to be covering it a lot here at Haus and over at the Game House. The goal is to kind of give you guys full coverage of everything. And I started trying to, figure out like all the Pokemon that are going to be in each wild zone. And, when you look at it here, like this one is, they show this wild area. We are on the rooftops here for a good portion of it. We're seeing, I believe it's Flaffy that's being caught here. We also walk past, I think it's Houndour and Alpha Houndoom. And so we see all of those types of Pokemon, in this area as well. And then, even here, this is where like the Sandile are. And then if you come down here, this is like where the Magikarp are and all that. And where my concerns are coming in is they're doing a lot, right? There's a lot of levels, with this game, right? We have the upper level, we have the ground floor. They are repurposing different areas for these ZA moments. So the night is obviously going to be way different than the day. That's going to allow you to mix in a lot of Pokemon. But where my concerns really start to come in is the amount of gameplay that is already kind of been shown to us. We know that you are going to have to do all of these different researching. We know that the Pokedex, so far at least, is going to be well over 100 Pokemon. We also know, that we are going to have, I would say, well over 200 or 300 potentially Pokemon, which is kind of crazy considering all of this area that it needs to kind of fit into. We obviously as well have the ZA Royale. We've been shown, Jet and Quasartico, I believe that's them up here. We don't know exactly where Corbo, yeah, I think it's Corbo, and his, gang, the Rust Gang or whatever their names are, the Rust Syndicate, I think is what's called, right, where they're going to be. But then there are rumors as well, and I think maybe they've confirmed this, I could be wrong, but over 100 different side quests. Now, considering this whole thing is about, improving Lumiose and making it, better. I almost wonder if, as we go through the game, right, is it going to be that certain areas not only unlock, but maybe they change, so they're going to have different buildings there, so then there are different wild areas as you get stronger and as you go on during the game, but then is that going to cut off certain Pokemon for you to get in those wild areas? I don't know, but I am worrying that it's going to feel, and maybe this is a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing for you guys, I don't know, because we haven't seen very much of the inside of all of these buildings, right, that take up the majority of Lumiose City. But if it's going to be where you can't go into most of these buildings, and you're kind of relegated to the streets and the rooftops, how are they going to fit everything in here? And it's not just going to feel like every single corner or every single time you turn around, there's a new quest, there's a new Pokemon, there's new this and that. And while that can be exciting, it's going to feel very clustered, very claustrophobic. And I just genuinely worry about it. I'm hoping still, I don't think that this has been, confirmed or denied, that there may be an underground portion to the game. I, made a, 40 things or whatever that you missed in the first trailer that was shown here. It looked like, with some of these river routes, which I think like one of them's here, or actually they're right here, I think, are I guess you could call them canals or rivers, whatever you want to call them. And there are times where it looks like you might be able to go underground, where they have like the steel grates and stuff like that, or the steel bars, whatever. Or actually, here's one too. If they don't have that ability, is this game gonna just, is the map going to be big enough? And I really express this concern because I would love to hear what you guys have to think, because I'm starting to worry that this game is going to be really, again, clustered, but also a little bit short. But at the same time, how are you going to be able to get to all of these different levels, in the ZA Royale? How are you going to be able to complete all of these mega quests? How are you going to be able to complete all of the researching and all of the different items and every single thing in this game based on what we have seen so far, right? Like, if we just look at the, Wild Zone 2 here, that's not very big, right? Like, that's a relatively small area, even for what we've already seen when, we are in the game. And then when you look around at everything else, it doesn't feel like there's a lot there. So I understand, like, there's going to be multiple layers. There's going to be day and night cycles. So there's going to be different things that are going to be available at different points within the game. But I just still worry that maybe this map may be a little bit small, unless if we can get that third layer, or if we can really start going inside. Because you'll notice, literally on all of these different things, like, there's basically nowhere to go inside other than, so far we've seen the shopping area. There's like a warehouse that we're fighting in, and then you could go in, to the Rust Syndicate, and obviously Quasartico and the hotel. So I'm hopeful that there's going to be a lot of more areas for us to walk around. I worry a little bit that this early area is going to be the most fleshed out area, and that a lot of these other places may not have as much. But if you don't share those concerns and you think that this map is going to be more than big enough, especially compared to like what we've gotten with Scarlet and Violet, what we've gotten even with Sword and Shield, or with, Legends Arceus, which I think is going to be, how this game is really kind of compared to, right? Then maybe I'm just off and maybe I'm complaining about nothing. But again, really, it's important to hear from you guys, because that's kind of why I made this video. So I thank any of you who have watched this. Please make sure that you guys like and subscribe so you're not missing out on any of the great Pokemon content we have coming out here at Pokehouse. But that is going to wrap it up for us on this one. So from our house to yours, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.